Well guys, it is a new day. We are back on the 1953 Ford. See if we can get this Flathead Ford fired up. The last thing I did was dump some PB blaster down the spark plug holes. 2 of the 8 spark plugs were really grumpy about coming out of there. So I'm going to take a wild guess that those cylinders probably got a bunch of rust on them. We'll put a prybar on the flywheel and see if it has decided to miraculously break free, but I doubt it. And then we'll see if we can pop some heads off without shearing any bolts away, and maybe we can clean up the cylinders enough to get this thing turning over. Hey guys, I'm on my phone this evening because I didn't have the my main camera with me, but got a little bit of time, so I figured I'd come and work on the old Ford a little bit. And what I'm doing is trying to get the spark plugs out of it. Spray a little bit of goo down into the cylinders, see if that will have any effect on breaking it loose. I got the other side done. Let's take a look at this side. I haven't got a whole lot of this stuff left, but we'll put a little bit of a shot in around the spark plugs just to give them a bit of a hope of coming out. Unfortunately, not much left in there, so I don't know how much we're going to be able to get into the cylinders, but getting the spark plugs free is probably a good first step. I don't know how well this is going to work. You guys are wedged up against the voltage regulator. I can't get enough leverage with the 3/8 drive socket, so I've got an adapter to bring it around to 1/2 inch. Oh, that one came out real easy. A little bit of rust on the tip of that, but the spark plug doesn't look all that bad. Yeah, that PB blaster's just about had it. Able to put it most of the way in by hand. I'll just give it a last little bit with 3/8. I'm going to keep going here, get these other 3 cylinders, then we'll have all of them at least get the plugs out there. I'll bring you guys back when we're done. I guess we can say a little bit of progress has been made. We've got some PB blaster down at all of the cylinders. The 2 on this side were a little bit challenging to get out. I'm not sure why they were harder than any of the other ones. The front and the back here came out fairly easy, and all 4 of the spark plugs on the other side came out fairly easy. So hopefully we're not in too bad a shape. Maybe these 2 cylinders are the reason that the engine won't turn, and maybe we can fix that up. Anyways, that's all for tonight, and we'll continue on poking away at this project. Eventually we'll get there. Lighting is going to be a challenge. I'm not even wearing sunglasses, and I'm having a hard time seeing. But down here is where the starter bolt's on, right there, and there's the flywheel and ring gear. Let's see if I can get this bar. Say that that is not going to move. That's kind of what I was expecting. It's not surprising that we've got grumpy cylinders. As I say, these 2 spark plugs really weren't happy about coming out of there. I had to put a fair amount of pressure on them to get them to pop out of there. So let's start disconnecting things, and we'll see about getting that cylinder head off. Hopefully we don't break any head bolts while we're doing that. Although, as you may have noticed, out back we got a whole bunch of head bolts. The problem will be getting the remnants out of the block. Let me get some tools kind of organized here, and we'll get going and see what kind of damage we're going to do. Get a few things taken apart here. temperature sending unit. Pull the spark plug leads off. And tell me this heater hose is going to need to be cut. Yeah, it's not coming off of there. This heater hose can stay. Appears to be on a water pump. And just as a special treat from Mortsky, 4 flexi hoses. They appear to be genuine Ford ones though. Oh, maybe not. This is Ford on it, I think. You know what? I think I'm just going to cut those hoses right off and be done with it. No sense fighting. Isn't that interesting? A little bit of liquid came dripping out of that block heater, and it's even green. That may bode well. Don't let me forget that after you take all the bolts out, you take the distributor hold down clamp off in order to get the head to come loose. We'll give this a try. Well, if they all come out that easy, we'll be in good shape. Yeah. Ooh, that feels good. It's coming. I'm using the breaker bar on this instead of an impact because I can put a much more controlled pressure on it using the breaker bar than I can with the impact. Once I get them all broke loose, buzzing them out with the impact is fine, but breaking them loose is something I want to do by hand. That is beside one of those cylinders that's being a little bit grumpy. Feels like it's moving. It's not moving a whole lot. Get a little back and forth. This kind of works the threads loose. kind of doing these bolts in a similar bolt pattern to the, or torque sequence to the, when you're bolting the head on. One more thing to take off. That's the distributor hold down. Looks to be about a 9/16. Probably should take the coil bracket off too. That one is 1/2 inch. Oops, that's not what we wanted. Well, let's give it a tug and see if it comes off there. Yuck. I also figured those two middle cylinders were going to be troublemakers. Weird. This one's weird that it's rusty like this. Because both valves are closed and it's up near the top of the stroke. And it's dry, which is also kind of weird because I sprayed some stuff in there. This one, that's a mixture of water, which is not good, and oil. Which might make it so that this thing has to be completely overhauled, maybe even sleeved, before we can probably get it running. But this makes sense because this intake, I guess, yeah, this is an intake valve is open. So we've got exhaust, which comes down the outside of the block, intake, which comes from up top. This is intake from up top. This is exhaust, goes out the center and down. This is exhaust, goes down the center. This is intake. This is intake, and this is again exhaust. And this one, the exhaust is open. And other than a little bit of antifreeze that came from, because there's still water in the block, it doesn't look too bad. Use the scraper to scoop the chunks out of here. And then I got a sucker that I can use to pull the liquid out. Let me grab that. It's ideally for mixed gas, but the reason I bought it is just because it's a syringe. Doesn't look that bad. It's a little rough. But I don't know, might be able to clean that up with some sandpaper or with some Scotch-Brite. Actually, I brought a honing stone. Maybe that might work. Well, it's got some pitting. I'll bring you guys down in there to take a look here in a second. Give it a bit of a wipe. My microphone died, so I'll have to use the camera microphone. Not sure how well it shows up for you guys in the camera, but I can see there's a little bit of pitting, but you know, really, for the most part, that cleaned up really nice. This next cylinder is pretty scummy, but I think what we need to do is convince that piston to go back down, and then we can do the same thing to that. You can hit it with the honing stone. The last one here, yeah, a little bit of rust, but not bad. Needs a good clean out. And this front one, I think it's, I don't know if you can see anything with this sun. I can't even see the screen on the camera. It's so bad, but anyways, it doesn't appear to be too terrible. Those valves are definitely going to be grumpy. But now that we got this one cylinder kind of sort of cleaned up a little bit, and we've got the head off so we can see what's going on, let's grab the pry bar again, and we'll put it on. I'll put you in the stand, and we'll put the pry bar down on the flywheel and see if we're getting any kind of jiggle out of these pistons. That would be really cool if we could convince this thing to break free. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on there. I am not seeing any movement in those pistons at all. That is not to be anything to be surprised about. Well, what do we do? I've got some Marvel. Let's drizzle some Marvel in those cylinders. We'll see if that does anything. I don't know if this stuff is really all that great. It kind of smells almost minty. It smells nice, but it sure looks kind of like ATF and acetone. Leave that soak for a little while. I'm going to go around the other side and repeat this little exercise with the cylinder head. Hopefully I have the same kind of luck that we had with this one. I'll bring you guys back once I got the head peeled off the other side and we'll see what kind of shape it's in. I hit a little bit of a snag here. All of the rest of the bolts came out no problem, except for this one. And it looks like a sending unit rather than a bolt, but I think it's just a heated bolt. Now, I've broken it loose here now, so it's coming, but this was a bit of a pain. And of course, I didn't bring an 1.25" socket with me. This wrench I had to go and grab out of my father's toolbox. But it's coming. Loose. I guess that's a heater of some sort. Well, let's take a look at the cylinders. I'm wearing sunglasses, so I can't see. Well, there's some stuff in there, but a little bit of surface rust. I don't see anything that's really screaming seizure. Let me grab you guys off the stand here and we'll take a closer look. Second cylinder in has a little bit of stuff on it, but for the most part, this side looks pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is clean that, wipe all those out. We'll spray a little bit of lube in there, and then we'll break out the 2x4 and hammer and see if we can get some of these pistons moving a bit. I'll bring you back once I got things cleaned up here and we're ready to take a crack at it. I've given all of these pistons a little tappy tap with the small sledgehammer and a chunk of 2x4, and I'm not seeing anything kind of looks like movement. By far, that third cylinder back on this side is the ugly one. If we could convince that one to go down a little bit and get in there and clean that up with the hone, I think we probably wouldn't be in too bad a shape. Well guys, I think that gives a pretty good idea what we have to work with here with this Flathead Ford V8. Definitely has some potential. I think we can get this thing broken free, but that's going to have to be for another video. This one is getting a little long. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. If you got this far, can you give me one of those thumb up things? Give me a like. And if you haven't already done so, would you consider subscribing to the channel? Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next mess.